there is a saying, the details the devil is in the detail. And now that Trump had imposed like
Tariffs.
absolutely unreasonable tariffs on different countries, including India. Not a malware, but it turned out to be a malware.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarvag Sushil Raichand, and I'm a fifth year law school student of Christ Deemed to be University, Pune Lavasa campus. And we are in our second day of Law in Action, and we are with Mr. Nazia Nazar, a contract APC specialist with Rockmill Automation, and we welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much for a warm welcome.
First of all, it's honor to have you here, sir. Welcome. And just in very start, I want to ask you, sir, please tell us about the journey, how from a law student you came into being a contract specialist. What is the journey being like?
Yeah, when I rewind myself and look back, as a contracts professional, as a lawyer, it's been a really exciting journey, I would say, because back in 2014, when I graduated from my college, I started with a company called Ernst and Young, and then there I joined as an associate, legal associate, and it gave me exposure to a lot of contracts, because my company then was sponsoring a lot of events, as part of which we had a lot of sponsorship contracts. And that is something, and I also, I had a flair for writing, and I had an eye for detail, I would call it. So for grammatical errors, the sentence construction, because contract drafting, if you look at it, it's all about everything, not just contract drafting, but any drafting for that matter, right? If you draft a matter for any court purpose, for the argument and everything, drafting matters a lot. So that way, I feel that it was. I figured it out right from the outset. I just learned more about it, and then I became a legal counsel for a shipping firm for a very short period of time, and then in 2021, I joined Rockwell Automation as a contracts manager, and there it was a completely different experience, because their focus area of business was completely different from what I worked on so far. It's all big machines, automation and everything, and I had to unlearn a lot, understand a completely new business. But then, what always stayed with me, irrespective of the industries I changed, you should always try to keep learning. You have to ensure that once you have figured out the area that you want to focus, then learn more about it. There will be a lot of updates, nuances, which you have to keep learning, and that is definitely going to contribute to your career success, overall. And in 2021, I also did my LLM, because I didn't immediately do my LLM right after my graduation, because I wanted to work, gain experience, and then make up my mind as to what I should be doing. I think I would say this, to everyone who listens to this. When you're thinking about higher education, you know, gain some experience. Understand what the real world is like. Understand how and what the industry is all about. Try to see in front of your eyes the real play of legal principles in the real world, right? It is, I would say, drastically different from you learning theories. So, yeah, I think continuous learning, not just from a student or academic perspective, but then try to pick up bits and pieces from everywhere. From the work, from your interaction with people, from the things that you read otherwise, and everything matters. So yes, I think that is all. That is all the effective recipe for a steady career, I would say.
About the career itself, as I'm a fifth year law student,
Yeah.
and all of our audience, whoever want to pursue the career in being a contract specialist or even understanding the CLM, contract lifecycle management, Would you give us the navigating map, how to go about it, how to be understanding the intricacies of the law of contract?
There is something, I always believe. You really, contract is not an isolated thing when it comes to an organization. That is something that is there to protect the interest of the company and to be able to understand these intricacies of contract. It is important to merge your understanding of contract with the business focus areas, because you have to definitely make a lot of changes, a lot of deviations, and a lot of compromises and changes in the contracts, depending on what area that you're working on. What is your guiding principle of the business? What are the core policies that your business believes in? And what are the competition that you have around? Right? For example, even though the exposure to risk is very high in certain opportunities, we will still accept it for a fact that, just to ensure that our competitor doesn't get ahead of us. So it is a calculated risk we are taking. So from a contractual perspective, I would say, you know, we have to understand, an effective marriage of legal principles with the business goals is something, that you have to have, which I think is going to definitely guide you in your journey in the contracting. Because you can definitely, if you have a good drafting skill, you can actually draft a very effective clause, a completely watertight clause without any room for any kind of risks. But you have to look at it whether it really benefits us. Because if you take that close to the customer say we can't accept it.
True.
Right. So everything that you have learned about drafting, everything that you have understood about the contracting principles, they're not relevant there.
Okay.
Right. What really matters on the ground is whether you can push the business, whether you can run the business and earn the revenue for it. Right. And how you're able to structure your contracts in a way that brings in the least amount of risk for the company is a smart contracting person does.
Okay.
Knowing all the contracting principles of course helps, but if you cannot merge it with what the real world demands, it is absolutely a failure, I would say. That is one part. And a very fundamental part, probably I should have said that first, but then the fundamental part would be to have an eye for detail, because there is a saying, the details the devil is in the details,
Yeah.
right? So once you're able to pick out certain risks from the contract, it might look very nice, easy, and risk free on the surface. But when you try to connect it with certain things, certain priorities of your business, it actually has a different interpretation there. And number three, understand the real world incidents. For example, I can give you this. During COVID, we had a lot of challenges when it comes to supply chain.
Yeah.
People were not getting out, not deliveries were happening. And, you know, before COVID became a global pandemic, there were a lot of orders in place. A lot of, business were in motion. And all of a sudden, it all came to a halt. How do you adapt to it as a contracting? Because all these transactions had a contract concluded before that. So how do you navigate this situation,
Okay.
right? And now that Trump had imposed
The
like
tariffs.
absolutely unreasonable tariffs on different countries, including India, and how do you respond to it, right? How do you save your existing contracts, and how you will save your future contracts? And what is the exact wording? What is the exact clause that you want to conceive so that your risk is less? You can't escape the tariff, of course,
Nope.
right? And you can escape the wrath of the customer by by being a smart contracting guy. That's a very important thing. So I always felt contracting is a very overarching, all-encompassing exercise. It's not something that you put down some words because you're good at the language or the drafting skills. That is one part of it. But then, to be able to incorporate, or to be able to come up with something really effective that is protective of your for your organization, you have to ensure that you combine your real world knowledge, your business knowledge, your latest updates, plus your contracting knowledge into this. So that way, I think it is going to go a long way for you as a contracting person, because a person who has that is a gem in the eyes of the business.
Okay, that's a
That's a very important
yeah.
thing, right? That's how you shape your career. But if you're an associate, you move to the next level because business understands you. You are a key part of the business. Right? You become a stakeholder for them. So your promotion or your career journey forward is not going to be difficult for you.
So one of the key elements of the contract, when we're talking about the contract specialist, understanding the intricacies of the business as well as the geopolitics.
Yeah.
So I want to understand one of the aspect of it when the consent is given to an agreement, it becomes a legally enforceable contract,
Yes.
right? So in a contract of Meta, which we earlier discussed about, this is just indemnification cost is just 100 rupees, or the updates, iOS updates, is it generally have two options, which is accept or decline, and some of the places there is midway, which is accept some. So, what are the strategies a contract specialist of these companies using to incorporate these contract for the customers?
These contracts that you referred to, the technology contracts, I would call them, mostly it's a non-negotiable one. That is the first, realization we should have. When you buy a Microsoft product, a Microsoft Word or an Excel or anything for that matter, you don't negotiate the terms with them. You just install it and use it. But when you install it, there is a click wrap agreement,
Yep.
right? That's what you're talking about. The
Yeah.
iOS update. Before the update, you have to agree to that
Click wrap
terms.
or shrink wrap agreements. Yeah.
Exactly. So there, the only option that you have is to accept it if you want to use the product, or do not use it. There is no, because it's a very different product and a market we're addressing. When it comes to technology, they make the investment for the entire on a global scale, right? If you say that, okay, I'm not really very happy with certain clauses on the iOS contract. I don't really believe in it, or Microsoft has a very weird contract. It's okay with them. Use only if you want it,
Take it or leave it situation.
and then look at their market share, right? And from a business perspective, because I have dealt in a lot of software contracts as well. So from a business perspective, not the retail level, like individual level business, but in business to B2B, customers do allow some kind of wiggle room for negotiation on certain aspects, not on the entire. You have the traditional contract for a supply or a services. Customer will be okay for you to go to the entire clauses and have comments on it, almost on every clauses, right? Even the silliest to the most serious ones, they will be okay with it. They might reject it, accept it. That's a different question altogether. But what really matters is that when it comes to software contracts, especially cloud services, SaaS agreements, you must have heard of it,
Yep.
or software user license agreements, ULA they call it. That investment that they have made is actually on a global scale, and they will not be willing to change that technicalities for one person. For example, I'll give you this simple example. You know what cloud is, right?
Yep.
Right? And this cloud is a universal thing, right? And if a change happens to that cloud setup, it happens to everybody,
Yeah, that happens.
right? If that system is down, it is down for everybody.
Microsoft thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And then I don't know if you're aware of it, couple of months ago, not couple of months ago, a year ago, there is a cybersecurity company called CrowdStrike. And they had an early release of an unrefined version of their security patch, which shut down all the systems on which the CrowdStrike security was
Like an
installed.
update or a malware?
It was not a malware,
Yeah.
but it turned out to be a malware.
Okay.
Right? Because that's what I said. It wasn't not a completely developed security patch. They wanted this to be a security patch, but when they rolled it out, they realized that, okay, it was not the final product. So that patch itself had a lot of problems. So it was a cloud setup, and everybody was affected, and for days, right? Our business was interrupted. You can just check it. It's a big news,
Yeah.
right?
I will surely do that. Also, I know that you are an expert negotiator also. So when you're having a conversation or a negotiation with a party who is not agreeing with you or having a discrepancies with your product or your subject or the contract clauses which you
Right.
did, and even you know that it will harm both of our business, and he is not listening to you or she is not listening to you. What strategy do you use as a contract specialist, and what strategy we as a law student should learn or be aware of, so that this negotiation would result in both of our benefits, a mutual deal?
You know, most often, this situation that happens is very rare when we sit down for a negotiation with really seasoned professionals, right? Be it from a legal angle, be it from a business perspective. People understand every business. If even if you're a buyer or a seller, it has its own risks, right? So that doesn't happen with seasoned professionals. I have noticed this happening with, probably mid-senior people who are a little picky about contract clauses. They don't really see the real world effect of it.
True.
That's very important, right? And they say that there is a liability, limitation of liability. They imagine, okay, it is all going to be on your shoulders. It's not like that. There is always room for interpretation by the courts. The court look into the merit of a case if there is a dispute, and then go accordingly. So for a negotiation to be successful, there are a couple of things we have to keep in mind. First of all, know what you're going to speak about. Preparation is the key.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to lose your ground, right? You'll be a failure, right? A typical example of that. So know your ground, know what you're going to speak there, right? And you also should know what is your position, what is the risk-taking capacity of your company.
I should know
Okay,
my
or your
limits.
client.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If they say that, okay, this thing we can accept, then there is no point in having a lot of conversation with the customer. You can just conclude it there,
Okay.
right? So have a very good sync up, or a connect with your business stakeholders and know that these are the points we're going to discuss. What will be our bottom position? Go with that. Go with the plan B. That is point number 3. Go with the plan B. Okay, don't just give into every customer requests. All right, put your reservations, put your comments, put your concerns before them. This is why we are not accepting it. Okay, people are listening. Mostly people are very attentive, right? And so, if you can convince them in a way that is through a very nice conversation, not a confrontation.
Okay.
It has
Yeah.
to be a very beautiful, well-structured conversation. I think that is going to be a great thing. You might not get exactly what you want, but you will get a better position than accepting the worst position. Somewhere in the middle. You take some, you give some.
Yeah.
Because I always prepare myself that, how will I feel if I'm in their position? That's what I put myself in their shoes and try to think from their perspective. Right? And even for certain points, I have gone back to my business and argued them because their demand is very reasonable.
I think that is one of the key things which make you a contract specialist.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it has to be. It is all about being empathetic, right? I mean, people are spending money, or people are trying to better their business by applying the solutions or the products that you're selling them. You can't really, you can't take them for granted. So you have to give that value. You have to ensure that you're giving them the value for the money they're paying you.
Okay.
So I once, had to go back to my own team to say that, this IP request they're making is harmless, but at the same time, it's very reasonable for them. I think we should accept it.
Okay.
So you also have to negotiate internally with your own, internal
Yeah, you have to
stakeholders
convince them that
sometimes.
let me do it.
Exactly, exactly. So that's a big thing. Uh, and then, once you know your business inside out, it's I would say it's easy to deal with people. What are the products you're selling, what are the services you're providing. And how much of a risk is involved in selling these things. It's very much easy. It's very much easier for you to navigate through this negotiation practice. But I still have, I still have this high heartbeats, when I go for a negotiation.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
Do.
because of, I don't know what I'm going to say there. It's because, you don't know the nature of the people.
Yeah.
Because there could be culturally sensitive people,
Hmm.
right? And there could be, something that they don't understand what you're trying to say, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So there could be a lot of challenges, verbal, non-verbal, and a lot of other aspects of it.
It's, I would put it as, it's a hit and trial method.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So So that is something, that works out in the negotiation process. You can actually, negotiation is very universal. You don't have to everybody does a negotiation, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you negotiate your salary when you join. You negotiate your school fee, if
Yeah.
possible. You go to a street vendor and negotiate the price with them. So negotiation is of course part of human nature, but then but then I think we have to refine it to be able to address bigger, more serious matters,
Yeah.
right? Even my daughter negotiates with me, right? So that element is
True.
always there.
Also, sir, in this automation in AI era, I want you to give your opinion and your specialist view. What would be the career prospects for the upcoming lawyers and the budding lawyers for us to understand these niche and just be better at it?
Yeah. So AI is the thing now, right? No matter what, there is not an area that AI doesn't touch, right? From making simple pictures to videos to making movies. Even I think I read somewhere, I don't know if it's in India or outside. Some court is considering employing or deploying AI enabled robot to for the judgment. I mean, as a judge, just imagine the kind of thing. But I have always felt a little, you know, I always had my fair share of suspicion about the effective application of AI in every sphere of our lives. Of course, there are areas that it can do. For example, coding, and
Hmm.
that's the reason why you're seeing companies like Microsoft and Google are laying off people in thousands almost every 3 months, right? And recently in India, TCS laid off thousands of
Yeah.
people. So that all happens because to a certain extent they can do it, but I don't think that it can invade. That's the word I would like to use it. That they can invade the human race and say that okay, we will do everything now. That'll be the end of us,
Yeah.
and I don't think we should be doing that against us. So
As in, what are the career opportunities when you have a specialization in CLM or contract analysis or risk mitigation in general?
CLM is something, it's a contract lifecycle management tool which is powered by AI, data analytics, and all that thing. Certain companies do adopt it, certain companies still go the traditional way of doing, in the paper method, they will negotiate it on it. But then, from a career perspective, especially for a person who is graduating fresh from a college, and these things are really very important because you know, being able to use AI, being able to use CLM, is in itself is a skill,
Skill.
right?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of tons of certifications that you will know, that you will have, tons of reading materials that you will have on the internet to learn more about these aspects. But then my take is that it is definitely going to give you a very a competitive advantage,
Mm-hmm.
because having these certifications or some reference of these on your resume is going to make you a worthwhile candidate, I would say. So yes, it does open doors for you, even though the nature of the job remains the same, because we do business in the same way. All these technologies are introduced only to increase the efficiency and productivity of us.
True.
But uh, you know, so number one, it doesn't replace us. Number two, we have to get along with these things very well.
Be efficient.
Yes, we have to catch up to that. Otherwise, we'll be left behind for sure.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a great and insightful podcast, and I think our audience had something for after listening to you.
Pleasure, pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this opportunity
Thank you
to
so much.
speak to you.